so much for joining us tonight. My name is Isabel Bollier. I'm the Youth Engagement Specialist here at Herren Project. And tonight we have one special guest coming on with us tonight, and we have an awesome co-host, another great youth. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Maggie Dowd. I'm a youth ambassador for the Herren Project, and I'm excited for tonight.
So why don't we get started? We're going to bring Chris on, and then we're going to start really asking the questions. Hello, Chris. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Izzy. How are you?
I'm good.
Maggie.
How are you?
Hi, Chris.
Nice to see you both.
Well, even though everyone knows who you are, why don't you still introduce yourself?
I'm Chris Herren, founder of the Herren Project. Also owner of Herren Wellness, and probably most known for Herren Talks. Over the last 10 years, I've spoke in front of almost 2 million kids, and I'm actually down here in Florida right now. I had 6 high schools, which was really refreshing to be in auditoriums, gymnasiums with a bunch of kids. Down in Florida, there's really a no mask rule. It's by choice. So to walk out into an auditorium and see, 500, 600 kids sitting in an auditorium and very few with masks on, it was a bit different, but glad to be back doing it. Glad to be, in front of kids again and sharing a message of prevention and education.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I think we're slowly getting back to normalcy, so make sure you get your vaccines. But we have gotten tons of questions from Herren Project Clubs all across the country. And tonight we picked out about 8 or 10, if we can get to all of them, obviously, with the times. We're going to be asking you a few, if that's okay. And Maggie and I will kind of go back and forth, and we'll have a great conversation because, as we say, start the conversation, real talk. Can you tell us how you came up with the first day?
Yeah, so, for about the first 5 years, I told my story, and, I truly believe that my story is not enough. I think part of me believed that I was kind of playing into the stigma of talking about how bad drugs are in the end, and not sharing about the beginning. My focus was about, playing in the NBA and spending lots of money and hurting my family and losing my opportunities, and, and then ending up on the streets and overdoses. And there really wasn't much focus, on the beginning. And the CBS morning show asked me to do a segment with Gayle King and Charlie Rose, and it was called Note to Self. And, when they called and said, we're going to have you do Note to Self, and the prior people that have done it is Oprah, Maya Angelou, and all these people, I was like, but I figured 500 words was going to be pretty easy. And I had to write a note to my younger self. I couldn't change anything that happened to me in life, but I could coach myself in the note. And those 500 words were one of the toughest assignments that I've ever done. And after doing that, I just became hyper aware of the beginning and the emotions that are attached to the first day, and the cause and the reason and the why. And, I was very nervous about changing the presentation. Kevin and I traveled quite a bit, and he was with me when we made the decision to change it over. He was the one that kind of influenced it and pushed me to turn it into the first day. But we noticed immediately via the emails and the correspondence between students and the amount of kids reaching out for help, that the first day presentation was much more impactful.
That's a it's a fresh perspective on it because as a person who's been in prevention the last 5 years, prevention is so important, and looking at that first part of it and why and how we can stop it at the first day rather than later on down the line is so important. So
Yeah, and I think it's really eye-opening, especially for like kids my age where like you don't really think, is this one drink gonna have a huge impact on my future? But after watching the first day, you kind of see like things can snowball and that's just the beginning.
You know, I say this in all my talks. You know, I said it twice today. I think that's the scariest thing about addiction is nobody knows who has it.
mhm.
You know, as adolescents, as teenagers, we have no idea that we're the ones that are going to suffer so much because of it.
Yeah.
So I think early intervention is critical. I think the stigma around addiction has prevented early intervention.
Mhm.
I think for years, it's been ingrained in families to wait for something absolutely horrific to happen before someone can get help.
Yeah.
And the way the current model is, you know, there's not enough time for people to be treated. So, you know, to let them suffer for so long and expect them to recover in such a short period of time, you know, to me is just, it's not realistic. So,
Mhm.
you know, the first day, you know, all of it, the messaging behind it, you know, has to do with that early intervention and getting out in front and kind of pivoting in life. And, you know, the whole purpose of this is, you know, and I think the people out there who have done this with me over the years, um, you know, I think we've done an unbelievable job at breaking, chipping away at the stigma around addiction. I think the awareness and the education um, is significantly different today than it was 10 years ago.
Mhm.
But you know, I do think that there's so much more work to be done, and you know what we're doing via you know this link right now, or Herren Project, or other organizations. You know, we're making great impact and something to be very proud of.